Welcome to EPG Pathshala for Comparative Literature, course on Performance Studies. I am Pritinisha Burman, Assistant Professor in the Department of English, Women's College, Shillong. I will be discussing on the module Fertility, Rites and Theatre Performance. This module is written by me. Folk rituals are integral to a community's beliefs and traditions as far as its cultural heritage is concerned. The fertility cults are one type of major cults specially associated with the communities who practice and value their agrarian origin. These cults basically celebrate different rites related to agriculture and harvesting. They may also represent different cults related to the human fertility. Though most of the communities of the present century do not follow just an agrarian economy, still they are found to observe certain fertility cults that represent their cultural rootedness in a particular region as well as tradition. The fertility cults are, however, rites that may involve the whole community or specifically either male or female members of it. The location of both men and women in this area varies from tradition to tradition, depending upon the religio-cultural elasticity of a community. Their symbolic significance also depends upon the worldview of the particular community that they represent. Nevertheless, certain rites performed by some specific communities secure remarkable places for the ritualistic performances that comprise copious elements of the performing arts, songs, dances, skits, plays et al. The present discussion would illustrate such ritualistic practices amongst the Koch Rajbangshi community. The sacred cults like Kati Puja as well as Hudum Dev Puja are to be looked at as the fertility cults of the Koch Rajbangshis. However, both these cults represent two different types of fertility cults. The first is related to the fertility of women, while the second concerns fertility of the soil. Nevertheless, both these types of cults are carried out only by women, as the Koch Rajbangshis regard the women to be the major forces in terms of fertility. The Koch Rajbangshis are a major ethnic community living in Assam and North Bengal, some parts of Bihar, Nepal and Bangladesh. The community reveres a host of folk deities besides the mainstream Hindu gods and goddesses. They follow the ritualistic cults associated with these deities since times immemorial. The beliefs in their ancient pantheon are reinforced through these rituals, some of which comprise different genres of performing arts. Often these genres are intermixed together or practiced side by side, abiding imitability to these cults. The rituals of Kati bear immense significance as the deity is invoked to bring fertility to barren women. It is believed that if a barren woman pleases the Lord Kati with the rituals, he would shower fertility to her arid womb. Kati is considered as the bachelor god who practices celibacy. But the Koch Rajbangshis believe that the celibate god can inculcate fertility to the infertile women looking for children. The Lord nevertheless fulfills other wishes as well. The ritual of the deity is performed in the month of Kati according to the Hindu calendar. It normally falls on the last day of the month. It is known as the Tithi of Kati Puja. The female devotees make the necessary arrangement for the rituals. They make the platform for the idol, planting 4 plantain stumps in its 4 corners. 4 bunches of paddy and 4 bows are attached to the 4 stumps. The paddy represents productivity, while the bow is the martial symbol of the warrior god. Inside the covered platform, they place the idol of the god. A pitcher filled with water and decorated with flowers, mango leaves, and vermilion marks is put beside it. The god is believed to be pleased with the offerings of fruits, sweets, flowers, wood apple leaves, etc. offered by the female devotees. Everything from the lighting up of lamps, burning of incense sticks, setting up the idol of the deity, to the setting up of the platform for the performances that are to accompany the rites is performed by these women. The presence of the male Thakua, the drum player, is inevitable. Occasional presence of a male priest can be seen in some cases, but most probably is a later development after the Koch Rajvanshis are converted to Hinduism. The festival of Kartikeya is a common festival in Indian culture. In the Hindu religion, Kartikeya is regarded as the son of the Lord Shiva and the goddess Parvati. The myth of his birth says that he was born of Lord Shiva's white seed without being united to the red seeds of his female counterpart, that is, the goddess Parvati. He is thus the hyper-masculine son of Lord Shiva, who could defeat demons even when he was just 6 years old. In North India, he is regarded as the bachelor god who shuns company of women. As Devadatta Patnaik points out, in a Kartikeya temple in Pahowar, Haryana, women are not allowed to enter, as the bachelor deity basically represents war and death. But in South India, he is known as Murugan or Kumara, the householder and the guardian deity. Patnaik associates the South Indian version of Kartikeya with that of a folk deity of southern hill tribes. The Koch Rajvanshi version of the deity reflects both resemblances and contradictions to both these versions. The Koch Rajvanshi deity, Kati, is a bachelor god, but he does not move away from his female devotees. In fact, he is a deity with immense masculine potentiality to fertilize women. Moreover, he is not born of only the white male seeds, but is a natural son of Shiva and Parvati. The following song of Kati tells the story of Parvati's conception. This is the original version of the song in the Koch Rajvanshi language. বুড়া শিবের চণ্ডী মাও মন্দির সন্ধ্যাইল, সন্ধ্যা শিবের সাথে পান তাম্বুল খাইল, হাসিতে খেলিতে রাতি পোয়া গেল, ওই ডুবে ওই শীতানে কাতি গর্ভ হইল, 1 মাস হইল ছেলে রক্তগোলা বাঁধে, 2 মাস হইল চণ্ডীর স্বামী জানিতে পারিল, 3 মাস হইল চণ্ডীর শাশুড়ি জানিল, 4 মাস হইল পড়শি জানিল. Now, I would like to give the translated version. Mother Chandi entered the temple of Shiva. She shared betel nuts with him. The night was spent in mutual merriment. That plunge, that sleep, made to conceive Kati. After 1 month, the zygote was formed. 2 months, Chandi's husband had learned. 3 months, her mother-in-law learned. 4 months, the neighbors learned. This song apparently contradicts the Hindu myth relating the birth of Kati that claims a sexual conception of Kati. The song also talks of Shiva's mother, but according to the Hindu myth of Shiva, he was Swayambhu, the self-born. In this song, Shiva even has neighbors, indicating that the family of Kati was very much located in a society of common people. These references indicate that Kati is a local god of fertility amongst the Koch Rajvanshis. The carnivalesque nature of Kati rituals of the Koch Rajvanshis makes it quite different from the other community traditions of the Kartikeya festivals in the rest of the country. The women not only perform the rites but also stage certain skits related to the myths of Kati. Besides the myth, these skits mostly include open dialogues where the women crack jokes at each other as well as the other mundane affairs of everyday life. Dr. Dhiren Das has divided the songs of Kati Puja into two types, the songs related to the Lord Kati and those related to the mundane affairs of life. The first kind of songs correspond to the myth of Kati. Those are sung during the enactment of the skits depicting the birth of Kati. The tales of the birth of Parvati, Parvati's wedding with Shiva, Narad Muni's matchmaking, Kati's birth and growth, and ultimately his victory over the demons are narrated in the accompanying songs and dance performances. Such a song, cited below, narrates Parvati's childhood. Here I have just given the translation. King Hamel is sitting on the Mount Hamel. Hamel has fathered Chandi through Menaka's womb. Menaka has given birth and nurtured Chandi. Chandi has already forsaken her teeth and has grown lustrous hair. Gradually, she has attained puberty. Thus, the actor playing Chandi first pretends to be a child and then a grown-up teenager. Soon, she wishes for a wise and worthy husband like Shiva. The neighboring kings and princes yearn to marry Chandi and send proposals. Narad Muni comes to the court in the Himalayas. Here goes another song in his translated version. Narad crosses a long distance. He reaches Hamel's palace. Come out, O King Hamel! Your daughter has attained youth. Suitors have sent so many proposals. Accept the bride price and marry off your daughter. But ultimately, Narad settles the marriage of Parvati with Lord Shiva. The Lord's wedding with the Lady Parvati is elaborately performed by the female folk actors. The women themselves dress up like men whenever the action demands. They enact the roles of Shiva, Hamel, Kati, and Narad, and the priest. Sometimes the role of priest is played by the real priest of the ritual. Mostly the actor playing Narad brings up certain comic interludes. She cracks jokes on the priest and makes fun of him. Here's a song that brings in the comic relief. Now again this song has been translated by me. The priest arranges fire sacrifice. We will cut off his head and make a basket. We'll cut off his mouth and make betel platter. We'll cut off his nose and turn it to a bangle. We'll cut and pluck off his eyes and make stars. We'll even cut down his belly and make a harp. We'll cut off his penis and turn it into a cane. Thus, the male characters offer ample scope for the women to sing limericks and their fantasies regarding the male body. They also sing about the formation of Kati's body, describing each part of his body as in the following song. This is another translated version. O Kati, who has made your nose? Is it Vasudev? Kati, my lord, who has made your ears? Is it Vasudev again? Then starts the part where Kati defeats the demons. The female actor playing Kati would take up the bow and the arrow and aim at the imaginary demons. Everyone pays homage to the Lord. But Parvati feels insecure as the handsome Kati would soon bring a bride and would belong to the bride. Kati understands his mother's anxiety and vows celibacy. In this regard, his image comes very close to the figure of the North Indian version of Kartikeya. But, unlike him, Kati laments on his bachelorhood. Here's a song in his translated version. Kati cries out at night, holding his bow. Alas, Kati, this new moon waited for your marriage. The second type of songs mostly highlight the personal associations of the female folk. They pour out their innermost feelings through their songs. These songs include the limericks directed on the priest. But certain songs and performances begin after the departure of the male priest, though those insertions do not form the central part of the main plot but are interwoven as comic reliefs. The actors assume the role of ordinary country wives while performing these parts. Often these include the regular activities of folk life as well as certain fantasies, slangs, and local jokes as it is illustrated in the following song. The fishermen have gone out for fishing. My father-in-law has caught rohu and katla fishes. My dear brother-in-law, Chandini Kurusha, while my husband has got only chanda and dhutura. My heart is up for my darling brother-in-law. I offer lunch to my father-in-law with due respect, but my heart is stolen by my brother-in-law. I offer him food with a gay smile, while my husband gets his food with a sour comment from me. However, the last song of the ritual encompasses the idea of a blessing earned through the due performance of the rites. It speaks of the replacement of sins by good deeds. Here goes the translation. Oh, the cursed sin has been dispelled by the showering of blessings. We are reminded of the great Lord. The theory of carnival that Bakhtin propounds in his reveries and his world regards body as a host of ambivalent experiences. Carnival implies humorous actions that subvert the hierarchies. It can be taken as a performance that leads to the expression of the innermost thoughts and hidden desires through enactments of subversive roles. This includes the elements of lowness and allows the private self to be public. Andrew Robinson, in his In Theory, Bakhtin, Carnival Against Capital, Carnival Against Power, says, I quote here, Carnival is a kind of syncretic, ritualistic peasantry which displays a particular perspective. It is a brief moment in which life escapes its official furrows and enacts utopian freedom. It is a form of life at once real and ideal, universal and without reminder. Its defining feature is festivity, life lived as festive. It is also sanctioned by the highest ideal aim of human existence, not by the world of practical conditions. Unquote. These aspects of carnival can be seen in the songs and skits performed in the festival of Kati. Even the ritualistic songs sung during the performance of the puja include some slang in them. The power element of society represented by the patriarchal domination does not intervene in that momentum escapade of women folk from the shackles of rules and regulations. The slangs that they use can be taken as the expression of their sexual fantasy and a media of asserting their capacity to go against the regulations set up by the patriarchal community. This can also be taken as a form of nostalgia of a lost matrilineal society that might have given them immense power before the community had adopted Hinduism. The performance associated with the rituals of Kati differ from the Bhaktinian carnival in the sense that while carnival celebrates the reversal of order and position, the performances of Kati mostly do not reverse but asserts the performer's positions. The use of mask in the carnival also brings in a slight distinction of approaching the duality of the carnival characters and that of the performers in Kati festival. The mask, according to Bakhtin, does not hide but reveals the inner faculty of the masker. As John Lastry quotes Bakhtin, here I quote, "The mask is related to transition, metamorphosis, the violation of natural boundaries, to mockery and familiar nicknames. It contains the playful elements of life." Unquote. Mask is also related to the joy of change and reincarnation. In the performance during Kati Puja, the performers do not use mask, but they adopt equally powerful disguises that mask their forms. These disguises are mostly of mythical characters like Shiva, Parvati, Kati, Narad Muni et al. While assuming of these disguises does not signify the revelation of the actor's inner self, but rather the imitation of certain established figures, though the actors, despite conforming to the norm of fulfilling the images of these figures, communicate a large amount of interpersonal emotions. They might cut jokes or even use slangs that come very close to the Bakhtinian concept of giving space to lowness, quote unquote. So it is rather the language of the actor that helps the revelation of the inner faculties of the performer than the disguises that they assume. The disguises get the spirit of duality not for their own nature, as in the case of the mask, but for the sake of the actor's self-conscious expression. In this cult, women body play the most important roles. In the rituals of Kati, the language and the dramatic performance become the objective correlative. The glorification of their body through the expression of their secret gratifications leads to the emancipation of their bodily desire. Ellen Sizov, in her writings, develops the concept of female body as a sovereign entity. In her The Laugh of Medusa, Sizov upholds the image of Medusa with snakes dangling from her head as the symbol of the different forms of the female self, I quote here, combined into one woman through language, desire and expression, unquote. Sizov further emphasizes on the literature of the female, which she terms as écriture féminine, which would be written in a female language different from the usual male language. This language would help in reclaiming the female self through the expression of the body. Sizov's proclamation of exaltation of women's self through language comes very close to the use of uncensored language in the Kati festival. The women release their secrets and silences through their language and rejoice their unfettered real selves. The rituals of Hudung Dev bear similar significance in the Koch Rajbangshi tradition. The deity Hudung Dev is regarded as the god of rain by this community. His image comes very close to the mainstream Hindu god Indra, the god of thunder and also the god of His image comes very close to the mainstream Hindu god Indra, the god of thunder and also the king of gods. Certain songs sung as part of the rituals invoke him as Devaraj, meaning the king of gods. In some contexts, he is associated rather with the rain god Varun. In the event of prolonged drought, this deity is invoked through the specific rites performed to appease him. The following song tells about the drought-scorched land and its longing for the rain. Here again I give the translated version. The month of Ashar, the month of Shawan, went on without rain. For God's sake, we now want a shower. Black and white clouds, please come. Harriers are 7 brothers, but none has water in their paddy fields. The ritual of Hudumdev is performed only on the new moon nights, especially on a Saturday or Tuesday by the female devotees. The Koch Rajbangshi women perform the rituals through the demonstration of their naked bodies in front of the totem representing the deity. The totem contains elements that symbolize female fertility. The platform of the totem is made of the clay gathered from the threshold of a prostitute. For 7 days, 7 virgins would collect water from 7 houses in special pitchers. At the end of 7 days, these girls would clean up the place of the rite with the water thus collected. They would bring a pair of plough implements and the yoke and put vermilion on them. The virgins would then mime tilting of the land and sing the songs related to fertility. Certain elements like the head of a dead crow, the nest of a black drongo, cobwebs, dust. Certain elements like the head of a dead crow, the nest of a black drongo, cobweb, dust stuck in the elephant tusk, elements carried on by the whirlwind, etc. are buried under the platform before setting up of the totem. A banana plant uprooted by the chief priestess of the ritual is interred as the totem of the deity on the platform. It is known as Hudum Khuti. The head priestess has to be the mother of only one child. She is known as Akshya, which means the one who has given birth to only one offspring. She symbolizes the insistence of the fertile soil for further fertilization. 8 pairs of bananas, bitter leaves and nuts, yogurt, milk, sugar, honey, rice, etc. are offered to the deity. Occasionally, a pair of horned owls is kept near the totem. Spring is the season when this species of bird mates. The presence of the bird pair symbolizes the necessity of the fertility cult. The Koch Rajbangshis believe that the male and the female horned owl talks in code language. This conversation is acted out during the cults that bears dialogues as, here I present the translated version, male. Did you understand my beauty? Female. What? Male. It's cloudy, it will rain. Female. Yes, I understood. During the performance of the ritual, the head priestess has to be completely naked, thereby exposing her urge and desperation of her desire for productivity. She would plant the totem and bathe on a winnow while being fully naked. The same water she would use to bathe the totem before evoking it as the deity. The other women that take part in the ritual should also be naked. The presence of a man during the rites is strictly prohibited, except the occasional participation of the drummer known as Thakua, who is blindfolded. The place of the ritualistic performance must be totally dark. Only an earthen lamp is kept alight, though it cannot dispel the gloom. Thus, the women remain almost completely invisible during the performance of the rites. During the cult, the female devotees sing songs of fertility, intermixing them with the songs of desire and passion. Here is a typical song in its translated version related to the cult. Get up, O Lord Hudum. We are welcoming you with our sacrament platter. We worship the sky, pleading him. Worship the netherworld with prolonged devotion. O black cloud, O white cloud, shower us rain. O sky, assume your dark form and pour down on us rain. The women also dance around the totem in a circular line, taking it as the central source and subject of their desire. Occasionally, they manifest their clandestine fantasies and hug the totem passionately. Here is a song which is often accompanied by the dance performance of the women. O Devaraj, accept our invocation. Come through the pot that offers you flower and incense. O Devaraj, come through the pot where you hear the drum beats. During the performance, they act as the beloveds of the deity. Sometimes they express their hidden passions and even sexual fantasies in front of their co-performers. They even sing songs replete with sexual symbols. Like here, I am giving one example in this translated version. Come on, O for cloud, come penetrating the mountain. We'll entangle you with our pubic hair. The song also describes the pangs of women and their bruised hearts that pine for the dew, such as, O cruel cloud, just set a glance. Look how the woman heart is ravished. O cruel cloud, O indifferent cloud, O prodigal cloud, you have burned me with passion. In this song, the lady in question pines for the apathetic lover symbolized by the profligate cloud. Her yearning is parallel to that of the desire of the drought-ridden land. In this song, the lady in question pines for the apathetic lover symbolized by the profligate cloud. Her yearning is parallel to that of the desire of the drought-ridden land that awaits the cloud. This urge can be compared to the ancient Syrian belief that the sun inseminates the earth. The rituals of Hudumdev also include some songs related to the conjugal as well as mundane affairs of life symbolized by the deity Hudum and his wife. The performances in these two rituals thus include song, dances as well as skits. The skits in the ritual of Kati come very close to full-length plays. They have well-knit plot, fully drawn characters, costumes and makeup, dialogues, action, songs and dances. The comic interludes play the double role of offering comic relief as well as allowing the actors to lay bare their hearts. The platform of the skit works as the stage. Though not as well equipped as a modern stage, yet they fulfill the basic requirements of the performance. The bow and arrow of Kati, the priestess urn, the winnow and the lamps serve as the stage props, while the music of the drum beats and the ululating provide the sound and rhythm. In case of the performance of the cult of Hudum Dev, the female devotees mostly concentrate on the symbolic performances. The tilting of land is mined by the virgins as part of the ritual. The bath-taking ceremony of the chief priestess over the winnow also reflects symbolic miming of the act of fertilizing the female. Here the winnow symbolizes the vagina that has to be filled with a male semen symbolized by the water. The passionate hugging of the Hudum Kuti, that is the totem of Hudum, also involves lots of dramatic acts where the totem is made to act as the male who has to submit to the desire of the desiring females. The songs and dances give these acts the color of dramatic performances where action replete with passion brings out the theatrics of the ritual of desire. The fertility cults are These fertility cults are basically Asian cults that represent an Asian world where symbolic cosmology defined man's way of life. They are replicated with layers of connotations related to the socio-cultural dynamics of human history. They project those parts of society which usually do not come to notice but carry the values of high social significance. These cults are worldwide, though they vary in their forms and types. The cults of Osiris demand a mention in this context. Osiris is the ancient Egyptian god of fertility. He is believed to be the proprietor of fertility and renewal. Both these terms relate to not only to agriculture but also include human beings. The myths of Osiris talk about his renewal by the wellness of the eye of Horus, which symbolizes the rejuvenation of human beings. The cults of Osiris include several rituals along with the certain dramatic performances. Dance, drama, songs become integral to the cults and celebrate fertility, rejuvenation and rebirth, hence an all-round existence of life. Here I end the discussion on the module Fertility Rites and Theatre Performance. Thank you.